Hey, what's up guys, aarava here, and welcome back to the episode of my F1 2018 career mode, episode number 158 today for the German Grand Prix in Season 8. If you guys did miss the previous one, the British Grand Prix, then be sure to go check that one out before you see this one. A very important one really for the championship, because going into the German Grand Prix now, we lead the Drivers' Championship by a few points to Fernando, Alonso there, so a real flip on its head was the race at Silverstone, especially those opening laps, and so quite a reset really to the season as we're now about halfway through. It's tricky obviously with 21 races, but this is just about maybe the halfway point of this season, and so everything's kind of almost got reset, and we go again for the second half in a way. And so we go into qualifying then. It's going to be raining at the start here. You can see the rain is going to get lighter though as we go on there. It says plus 10 minutes into the session it will be only 1 dot of rain compared to 3, so I just sat in the garage for the first bit of qualifying, let the rain kind of pass a little bit from heavy rain to properly just intermediates, but a few other people went out a little bit early on inters. But we go again and then go onto the track with a bit of heavier fuel, so I've fueled up for about maybe 3 laps-ish that we're going to do consecutively, so just try and wind up the confidence really around the circuit in the wet. Of course, the AI very solid and consistent in the wet compared to myself, so we need to try and banker in a few laps and get the confidence up in terms of braking and also the cornering speeds around this circuit here. But feeling confident because the German Grand Prix is always a great circuit to come back, a personal favourite of mine really on the calendar in real life and the game as well, and I have enjoyed it in the past in terms of the results. So let's try and get through this and survive this really, because it's the first, I think the first time we've had a proper full wet kind of session in quali that I can remember of. I think that's just how bad my memory is maybe for the season. But moving on to my second flying lap, we're up by about 2/10, but then we lose quite a fair bit of it in the last corner there, so leaving some time on the table, being a bit too cautious about putting down the power there, so we improve by literally only minuscule, and so we go for a third run, and this time we will find a decent amount of time and won't lose so much time in the last corner. A bit more eager on the throttle there, wrestling the car through and keeping it in straight line across the line. We gain about 6/10 there, but only is it good enough for P4 in the end. So even despite gaining a lot of time, obviously the AI are just so good around here, and the simulation times when we go back to the garage are even better, and so they just keep finding time and time and time. And so even though I already found about 6/10 there over the course of our laps, we need to go again because we're down to P7 and try and improve even more. So we go purple in the first sector, so that's quite promising maybe compared to everyone, but we lose a bit more time in sector 2 and 3 for sure, especially sector 2 can be quite tricky to try and find the time against the AI through the last few corners. And you can see the track has dried up a fair bit. It's definitely looking a lot less wet than it was on the previous lap, so we go through across the line. I thought that was a pretty decent one, it felt like to me, but then in the end it's only good enough for P5. My teammate Leclerc is on the front row in second place. Fernando Alonso, my championship rival, on pole position then. So Sorokin even put in a crazy surprising time in the Toro Rosso car to get ahead of me. So a bit of a jumbled up session then, but ultimately my rival in first place and my teammate in second, so at least that's something. I know the car maybe has the potential, just was a case of me versus Leclerc. Leclerc just did a better job out there on the intermediates, but I don't believe there's going to be rain for tomorrow's race, so that will be at least my saving grace. That in the race I think we can do a lot better and try and get up the order there, but we've got a few spanner in the works, you know, with Verstappen and Sorokin quite high up there compared to recent episodes. The two Red Bulls did quite poorly actually, considering they're Red Bull cars and usually their specialties, you know, downforce scenarios like the wet around Hockenheim. But there you go, so we're going to go to the grid then and see what we can do and try and make the most of it. But the start, it will be a bit of an uphill battle considering Fernando Alonso is going to be on pole with a pretty clean entry into turn 1, but you never know what will happen. Let's just get into it.
There's nowhere at all I'd rather be today than here at Hockenheim for the German Grand Prix. We have an incredibly competitive field this year, which means we should be in for a treat. And judging by the sea of people filling the grandstands, there's a fair-sized chunk of Germany that agrees with me. We're racing in the Rhine Valley this weekend at the home of many of the sport's finest competitors. The 2.8-mile Hockenheim ring requires precision through the technical stadium section and great raw speed down the long, flat-out curve towards the popular overtaking zone of the Turn 6 hairpin. Watch out for a lot of wheel-to-wheel action there today. Anthony Davidson joins me again for the race today. Let's talk about the engineer. That was a great win in the last race. Can they keep that momentum going this weekend?
There are never any guarantees in this business, but certainly the performance last time out would have boosted their confidence coming into this one.
And so with that, let's have a look at the starting grid. Head this German Grand Prix for Season 8 of my F1 2018 career mode. On pole position, my championship rival Fernando Alonso, alongside my teammate Charles Leclerc to finish off the front row. Then Max Verstappen and Sergei Sorokin in a very high, lofty P4 in the Toro Rosso car. Myself and then Hamilton the next row. Gasly, then Hülkenberg, and Brent Hartley and Van Dorn round out the top 10 with Magnussen P11 and Bottas 12. Esteban Ocon and Grosjean next, with then Carlos Sainz and Sebastian Vettel down in P16. Ricciardo P17, Sergio Perez 18th, and Lance Stroll and Kimi Räikkönen in the two Williams cars round the last grid for the German Grand Prix. A little bit overcast, but no rain forecast. Right, so here we are starting in P5. You can see the yellow wool soft tyres there. We have a free choice of tyres, of course. Having rain in qualifying gives everyone a free choice, so I wouldn't be surprised if that top strategy, the one-stop, soft and mediums, is the way to go for pretty much everyone, because if that is viable for everyone, why wouldn't you? Because if you watched previous seasons at the German Grand Prix, the one-stop has been really powerful, because the track position is so good around here, and just the amount of traffic you can actually get into in Sector 2 if you're on a two-stop is quite large, so I think that'll be the way to go. So we're going to stick on that strategy. You can see it's just going to be overcast and gloomy the entire race, so it might be a little bit of a depressing look, but I'm pretty confident our race pace should be the exact opposite of that. So we're going to lower the fuel and then get ourselves ready for the 5 red lights for the German Grand Prix. Pretty much a reset after last episode for this championship fight between Fernando Alonso and myself as we go to 5 red lights for the German Grand Prix, and we're on the way. It's a great start there for Sorokin, a slow one for Verstappen, a lot of wheel spin as we're still on P5 with an okay getaway. Hamilton though, down in time, we've been tapped round. Oh no, we spun round, and now we got oncoming. Oh my god, oncoming traffic, and that was an absolutely crucial moment there. My life flashed before my eyes. That could have been easily a DNF there. I think it was the Haas car was inches away from wiping us out there. I didn't look. I almost shut my eyes at this moment in the cockpit there as we faced the wrong way on the circuit there. We've got a complete front wing off there, despite the heads-up display saying we've only got damage on the front right. Our entire front wing is in fact off. You can't see any of the cascade elements there, and so we're going to be straight into the pit lane for a pit stop on lap number 1. The full safety car has been called out. No surprise there. There's absolute calamities for a lot of cars there in turn 1 and a lot of debris to clear off, so at least that's a saving grace for us. We're down to, well, the last few places on this grid now in the race, but at least the safety car is going to bunch everyone up together. We go for another pit stop onto a set of soft tyres, then changing the front wing, so we're still going to aim for the one stop probably from soft to medium. I've just made a de facto, extra pit stop basically at the very start to reset myself on these tyres basically, and reset myself toward the back end of the grid now after that collision there. But we're going to have a look at a replay then and watch back what happened there. So you can see the mirrors there. Hamilton is there in the front right mirror, and so I think he tapped us round, and look how close that was, with about 5 cars there or something like that on the right hand side of me that got piled up behind Hamilton, having a bit of a T-bone situation. But look at that, the subtlest of grazes of Hamilton's front left there, and to be fair, Hamilton got very lucky not to be completely sideswiped and taken out this Grand Prix. How he didn't lose a tyre, I'll never know. And there you go, there is the Haas of Romeo Grosjean there, inches away from taking me out of the Grand Prix, but he just ricocheted at the right angle, hitting Hamilton. And then it was a T-bone situation for the Force IndyCar, who did go out the Grand Prix then, so Bottas getting very unlucky. But look how close this is. That is literally a pixel probably in gaming terms away from DNF there, the front left tyre being sheared off by that Haas car there. How I didn't DNF out that Grand Prix, I'll never know. I got so lucky there. I thought it was over when I saw 3 cars pretty much going 3 wide coming towards me there, including Hamilton, who was also backwards. But somehow we survived it. Now we live to, we live to die another day, I guess you could say, to quote a Bond title. And we're underway for the green flags in P15 now, out of 17 runners, including Hamilton and Vettel, who are now joining me at the back end here. So a bit of a frosty restart there as I defend very aggressively on Hamilton there. Don't want to get mixed up with him once again, but Perez goes very slowly, trying to go around the outside of him. And remember, Alonso is still in P1, I'm guessing. Leclerc P2. I'm down here out of the points paying positions, P14. We need to be very aggressive here and try and get up the grid as fast as we can and not lose too much time. So making one move there on Sergio Perez, and now another, a big dive bomb on Lance Stroll. But to be fair, I'm just following in the steps of the McLaren of Daniel Ricciardo, who's also got through quite aggressively there. And so we're up into P13 already as I look behind me, and Lance Stroll being overtaken by Perez there as we move on to lap number 5 now. And we're still staring at the back of that McLaren of Daniel Ricciardo, who's chasing after Magnussen here, but we've got a great run through turn 1. Good exit there, no DRS available quite yet on the restart of this Grand Prix, but we make a big dive on the inside then, trying to get Magnussen as well, and in the end of it, despite losing the back end, Magnussen also doesn't get the best exit, so we're tucked up right behind him then. Rich Mix going overtake mode, engaged on the ERS mode, and then we're up on the right-hand side to get up into P11 with a big gaggle of cars up ahead of me, which is tail-ended by Esteban Ocon in the Ferrari car with his teammate Vettel way down the order behind me with Hamilton there in the mini-map, but we're up into P11 then, and we'll try and chase after the first points-paying positions ahead of Ocon there, which is going to be Hulkenberg, I think that is, in the other Mercedes car. Verstappen at the moment way out up in the top 4, I think it is, but Ocon P11, he's our first target there, but I have to take it easy because clearly there's some sort of bottleneck going on here, because all these cars are getting very bunched up together, very oddly in fact, and so we take it nice and easy, break early, try and cut in earlier, and that works out a treat for us because we go and overtake Ocon in a very weird place, to be honest, in that section of the track there. And now we have a great run side by side with Hulkenberg then. Hartley is the one slipstream. Gasly is going quite slow, and we're going to nearly make it 4 wide there. Mercedes, Alfa Romeo, Red Bull, McLaren there battling all together at the hairpin there. Gasly is the one that comes out the best, just about squeezes out the Kiwi man of Hartley, and he's actually gone down 2 places rather than gain 1, and Hulkenberg tries to overtake Gasly, doesn't work out. Yellow flag's behind us, and I think there's someone off there. It's a Ferrari car, I think that is on the minimap there, and so we look at a replay, it's going to be Esteban Ocon who gets caught up with the Haas car there, and he's going to be spewed and kicked off and into the gravel trap there, so unfortunate. So it has really been another bloodbath here in F1 2018 career mode. Last time out Silverstone, a pile up, and now the German Grand Prix has been very hectic indeed, but now here we go to the inside of turn 1, a double overtake maybe with a brilliant exit there. It was Hulkenberg who slowed himself down, frankly, after overtaking Gasly but making contact with him, and so we're side by side. He's going to get very bargy though and make some contact with me some more on the front right tyre there and try and push me wide with the elbows fully out there for the German and his home race, to be fair to him, so he's probably trying as hard as he can to put on a good show for the home fans. But we dive down the inside, we're going to squeeze him out. A lock up on the front right tyre means that we have to try and squeeze him on the exit instead to not get that fully booked in, but we will do on the exit. And so now we're up into P6 in a pretty decent amount of points already actually in this recovery drive, but we got some more to chase after, and we're going to chase after Carlos Sainz Despaniard in the other Red Bull Honda. And I've got to say, both Red Bulls seem to be really struggling around Hockenheim for some reason here today, as we now go down the inside very easily of Carlos Sainz there with a light late lunge to make that pass work, and then DRS with the second bite of the cherry to get away from him there. But yeah, both Red Bulls very weirdly have a lack of pace around Germany, despite being the 3rd best car on paper and closing right up to Alfa Romeo Racing and Renault in the performance shot on the R&D you would have seen at the very beginning of the episode. But now we move on to lap 13, got our sights set on our next target here, Stoffel Van Dorn, the Toro Rosso. To be fair to him, doing a fabulous job in the Toro Rosso to be this high up the order, still legitimately fighting away there, and pretty good actually, quite far ahead of the rest of the pack we just overtook. But here we go then with DRS down the inside of the Belgian man, and we're going to be up into P4 then. So far you've got to say this has been a very successful recovery drive. Still got more to do though, because I fancy trying to overtake Verstappen and try and catch up to him if we can. For now though, I feel like Leclerc and Alonso are probably a bit too far away from us, but if we could get Verstappen and get back up into P3, that would be pretty much a miracle in my eyes, seeing as we're facing backwards at turn 1 and nearly just dodged death in terms of the DNF. But here goes Leclerc, to be fair to him, overtaking Fernando Alonso for P1. So this is going to be a massive favour to us in the championship. Leclerc with a great overtake there, DRS. He's been chasing after Alonso this entire time since the restart, and only now has he got the pass done, and Leclerc leads the German Grand Prix. He's yet to win a Grand Prix this season yet, so this will be quite a deserved win. And if you remember back to the French Grand Prix, he probably should have won that, so this is kind of karma for that, I guess, and payback in a way on Alonso for bottling that French Grand Prix lead. Speaking about Alonso then, as we move on later into the Grand Prix, he's making his first pit stop and only pit stop of the afternoon, and he comes out just behind myself and Verstappen there. So as I go and try and overtake the Dutchman, we've got Fernando Alonso right behind me, and so I may not be able to finish ahead of Alonso there as we make a very, very tidy move on the outside of Verstappen there. Very nice indeed. But yeah, as I was saying, we may not be able to finish ahead of Fernando today, but at least I can guarantee that Leclerc beats him today, and that Alonso is only on the second step of the podium, so we're going to have to try and defend with our lives here and try and squeeze him wide, and he's actually completely off circuit there, so maybe playing a little bit frosty with Alonso there, but try my best best to ensure that Leclerc makes his pit stop, and he comes out still ahead of the Spaniard. And by the time Leclerc comes in for his pit stop there, it will be confirmed he's out on medium tyres, and he's actually miles ahead of myself and Alonso there. So done some good teamwork there, and allowed my teammates some breathing room, as we're still in second place. Then it's a 1-2 for Alfa Romeo Racing right now, but of course I have yet to make my second pit stop onto medium tyres. I've only been on soft tyres, so as much as I want to maybe go to the end of the Grand Prix on these tyres, I literally can't without having an illegal, breaking a rule there. So Alonso now comes for a move on the left-hand side there, and this time I'm not going to make things too difficult, because now the job is being done. Leclerc is ahead, and to be fair to Alonso, he gets a really good entry and exit in that hairpin. I just can't actually match that and even try and squeeze him out like I did last time. But actually, we're going to stick with him, and you know, on the next lap, we're actually close up to him there with DRS after turn 1, so we might actually be able to re-overtake him here and still be a bit of a thorn in his side here. So it may not really be for a legit position, because even if I overtake him for P2 again, I'm just going to come into the pit lane eventually for a set of medium tyres. But I'm sure this will be frustrating Alonso to no end in the cockpit. So here we go then, climbing up the gears and climbing the revs. DRS open, rich mix going, overtake mode, and we re-overtake Alonso to get back up into P2 of the German Grand Prix. But like I said, it's going to be all a bit too futile and, not really matter too much, because by the time we get to the end of that lap, then we're going to come in for the medium tyre, set this fuel down to lean to save some fuel in the pit lane, and come in for those mediums, and that'll get us to the end of the Grand Prix. But we still should be in a pretty damn amazing P3. Like I said just earlier, considering where we were after turn 1, I literally had the Haas car millimetres away from me, could have DNF'd me. To say we're going to get P3 in this Grand Prix now, I would fully have taken that if you had told me when I was spinning around and the safety car got deployed on lap 1. So I don't want to be too disheartened by that. For now, Sorokin is up in P3, but I think he should be pitting eventually for another pit stop, because he's on soft tyres there, you can see on the top left. So by the time we get through later into that stint, he is going to come in. You can see on the mini-map there on the bottom left that blue dot, dark blue dot in the pit lane. And so we're going to skate through there with a bit of oversteer for good measure across the line up into P3 of the German Grand Prix. And so this should be a pretty easily booked in third place there. But Charles Leclerc is going to be the man in the spotlight today who wins the German Grand Prix. GG's to my teammate. To be fair, he's deserved a win so far. He should technically be on 2 wins for the season, but it's his first win of this season in the newly branded Alfa Romeo Racing car there. So well done to him, and he's done a great job for me, to be fair, because he's moved Alonso down from first to second. So that's a difference of 7 points Alonso is not going to get. So that's fantastic teamwork, to be honest, between myself and him. But I'm sure he just wanted to do it for himself. But we come across the line in third place there. It's going to be a fantastic recovery drive, and it's one I'll fully take.
Okay, good job, mate. Really well done. That was a fantastic drive.
Brilliant stuff from Sauber today. What a superb victory. And Anthony Davidson, give me your thoughts. How did they accomplish this result?
I think a large part of the result comes down to temperament. They were able to keep their heads when everyone around them was losing theirs, and that's allowed them to get the best out of the car, to maximise the strategy and to stay out of trouble.
So first place and third then for Alfa Romeo in the German Grand Prix. Very, very solid race there, and you can see we maintained the lead of the Drivers' Championship, albeit by only 1 point, but still maintained the lead by 1 point. That wouldn't have been the case if Alonso won the Grand Prix and Leclerc came in second. So again, kudos to Charles. And you can see because of our result when P1 and P3 and Hamilton being down the order, we actually take the lead of the Constructors' title for the first time then in the standings. So that's really awesome as well, because it's been a long time coming. It's been so many races where Renault have been comfortably ahead of us, so actually to finally crack the Renaults and get into the lead is really great to see. And so like I said, we're now officially properly halfway through the season now after finishing that race, and so the season has really truly been reset because there's only a 1 point gap, may as well be 0, and so really it's a clean slate for the second half, and it's go time there between myself and Fernando Alonso, and onto Alfa Romeo Racing and Renault. And I'm hoping that Leclerc, with that win, maybe that's a sign of things to come maybe, and finally he's going to try and buck up and pull his weight a little bit, and we might have some inter-team battling, and perhaps, a little bit of a kind of 2v2 situation between the two Renaults and ourselves at Alfa Romeo Racing. But guys, if you did enjoy that episode, be sure to smash that like button. Let me know your thought in the comments below. If you are new around here, you can subscribe for weekly full-on content. I've been Alfa, home trust today, and I'll see you guys next time. Goodbye.